So normally I mic up when I do these driving to work rants, but I got a new phone, so let's see how the mic does. I was thinking about David, the cave. Saul goes in there, to relieve himself, and he cuts off the corner of his cloak. And this came up in Bible study how this might be his tzitzit, which is the tassels that Hebrews would wear, as commanded, in the law. And then I was reading in the Psalms, Psalm 57, how David wrote that he'll hide in the shadow. And this is supposed to be what he wrote in this cave while Saul was out there looking for him to kill him, right? And he's going to hide in the shadow of your wings. So I looked up the cultural study notes that I have for my study Bible, and they're like talking about Assyrian gods and the winged gods, or how it could be it's the heavenly forces, the wings, and the angels will come down, like when Jesus is, arguing with Satan and saying like, oh, the angels will come catch you, kind of thing. Then I just got a picture of David looking at God as a father figure, and like if you were a small child and something was going on, you were just ducking down, holding on to the leg of your father, you would be under that tzitzit. You would be under the shadow of his wings. And it's also curious because if that's what he cut off of Saul, which makes sense, so it's part of his robe, I'm sure knives weren't super great back then maybe they weren't, I don't know, to saw off a piece of cloth would be kind of loud, take time. Whereas tzitzit, which was just linen and wool woven together, would actually make it kind of easier just to do a quick slice, slink back into the cave. It kind of makes more sense that would be something like that, and fits into David's character where he would just do something and then think about it after. He's like, I cut off his tzitzit, and to them the tzitzit was, it was showing a priesthood. Of course we have the Levites, or the actual priesthood, but everyone actually got to wear a bit of a priestly garment. Because what people think is a contradiction is like, you're not to mix linen and wool. Well, I just told you it's made of linen and wool. And what it's saying there, people think, oh, don't mix linen and wool because it's bad energies and all this stuff. I don't know about that, but it's saying don't dress up like a priest if you're not Levitical, if you're not of the priesthood. But there's like a clause. You should be wearing these tzitziot on the corners of your garment so people know, oh, he's a Hebrew. And to remind yourself, when you're working, these things you're gonna see them. I got them. I got one on each side because I always lose them. But every time I go into my pocket, I hit this thing, and it's just reminding me of God's law. It's like an ancient wedding ring, of course. It's like, oh, this is my covenant with God. It's to remind you to keep the law, remind you where you come from and your commission as a priest. And to cut that off of Saul, because we already know that Saul's kingship had taken away, and to say that you're cutting off his tzitzit, it's almost like you're cutting him off from Israel. And I'm sure David just overthought this because he's got God's heart, and he's just, once he does really think about things afterwards, it seems to be his problem, but at least he thought about things unlike Saul. And he was repentant, and I think that was part of it. And I think even Saul was, he wept too at that point. And he was just thinking about his tzitzit and just everything. I'm sure the scriptures were coming to their mind of why they're to wear it. And I think that kind of led to the moment of them both weeping, being sorrowful. Saul was thinking about, how am I supposed to love my neighbor? David wears tzitzit. He's an Israelite. I shouldn't be treating him this way. I shouldn't be hunting him down. I shouldn't be jealous. I'm supposed to be Yahweh's servant. And maybe Saul was thinking that. I think he had moments where he was on the right track. Definitely David, though, I think, thought this through. And I think that's a better picture of what the shadow of the wings are, and possible relation to what happened in that cave. That's a better picture for me, as a child, is holding on to the leg of his father, protecting him from whoever, being right below those Tzitzits. End of my morning rant. Have a great Sabbath.